Hey guys, what's up? So I've decided to also make another video, this time about obviously we've been talking about the playoffs, so why not try to stir it in the way of the teams that didn't make it, like my own. But it's going to be a really interesting off season. I know some things have already happened, but we will see what's going to really go down this offseason. The offseason's always actually a really exciting thing as well. So I know there's a lot of reports coming out that Pat Shurmur might be the Giants' new coach. I think that would be a pretty interesting hire. I know the guy has had head coaching experience before and it hasn't gone that well, but can you count it? It's the Browns. So it'll be really interesting to see how he does with even though the Giants were bad last year, a more capable team, a more capable organization, something that could actually be repaired for him, and the organization isn't as defiant as the Browns. So we'll see how Shurmur does. It'll be really interesting. And I think most of these coaching announcements aren't quote-unquote official because of how the NFL works with teams that are still in the playoffs. Two of them are the Patriots' offensive and defensive coordinators and Pat Shurmur. So these people that are currently still coaching in the playoffs, they're not supposed to be officially, talked about just yet. So because they're still having their job to do. So whichever team, either the Patriots or the Vikings, is eliminated first, either by Super Bowl or by the next championship game, we should start to see the official reveals of the coaches. I know Detroit's supposed to have hired Matt Patricia, who I kind of wanted the Giants to get, but I think either way, Shurmur or him, or Josh McDaniels, I mean, the whole crew is good. Which coach do you want? Who knows? So he should be going to the Lions, and I think Josh McDaniels right now, I don't know which team he's going to. I've seen reports on both sides. One saying, oh, he's very likely to become the Titans coach. Others saying, oh, he's very likely to become the Colts coach. So as of right now, we don't really know. But obviously there's a lot to go by in this offseason besides just the coaching changes. The Giants have their new GM, Dave Gettleman. So the Giants have a lot of work to do with their new faces. A lot of assistant coaches are leaving. Multiple teams, the Giants in specific, I know have lost, I think, 5 of them already. Like assistant coaches, from tight ends to quarterbacks to coordinators. It could be all over the place. But I know everybody's always a lot of people are always afraid of change. But that's how the NFL works. Every offseason brings in new free agents, new hype because of the free agents, and obviously the draft itself. So let's see what happens there. The draft itself is going to be really interesting, especially for the top 5 lower teams, the top 5 draft picks. The Browns, I'm expecting to take another quarterback. That just seems to be their thing. I honestly think Deshaun Kaiser shows some promise for them, but you know how the Browns are. Once anything goes wrong in any certain way, they just throw it out the window. So I honestly am not sure if they're going to give him another chance or not, but being someone that is not used to change with the Giants especially, it's going to be really interesting to see new faces all over the league, new rookies coming in. I know one of my favorite running backs are coming in the league. I really hope Saquon Barkley comes to the Giants, but hopefully he's just on a team that I don't despise, so I can always follow him and root for him, but regardless where he goes. But there's going to be some good running backs coming in, some good receivers. I honestly think this will be a pretty strong draft overall. Lots of things to go around for all over the place. I know our GM is going to be specifically looking at defensive and offensive line. So will he get a running back? I'm not sure. He's the kind of guy that likes to build the lines before building around it. But who knows? Maybe Saquon will tempt him to get a player that could possibly be a generational player. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes down, but besides that, a lot of the early exit teams maybe have a lot of work to do. The Steelers, I just talked about in my last video, they have some work between offensive line. Their defense could use some fixing up. They have to re-sign Le'Veon Bell. There's a lot of things coming on their ways. The Chiefs, they probably should. Well, they're probably going to move on to Patrick Mahomes now, and need more receiving help, more of a hoping that there's not as many important injuries like Eric Berry. So maybe a coaching change is due for them, but knowing them, they probably will keep Andy Reid maybe for another year. But lots and lots of interesting things going around. The Cowboys are going to have to figure out their defense that was pretty bad this year. Probably one of the only reasons that they actually had the losses that they've had this year. Besides, you can blame, Zeke was, he was suspended, so that's why they sucked. Well, I mean, he came back for all those games, and I don't remember them winning any except the Eagles game, so calm down there. He's not really the issue or the savior, so they could use some help as well. Their offensive line was not as good as last year. It's actually a pretty obvious thing. Dak Prescott had a bad sophomore year in terms of his success, or comparing from his success last year to this year, but I'll do a full review of what could happen this offseason once we figure out more of the teams coming out. But the lower tier teams fans of the lower tier teams don't fret. The NFL is a very interesting and unpredictable sports league. I just look at the examples. The Jaguars came from the bottom of the cellar and came up to now in the championship game. So who knows? Maybe the Colts or maybe even the Titans will make it that far next year. The Bengals were good one year, so maybe they'll be good another year. There's a lot of things that could happen. A draft could do a lot for you. The Saints showed that. So we'll see what happens when that time comes. But for now, we'll just have to wait.